Tonight, on your news at 9, Tyson Foods is recalling almost 8.5 million pounds of its ready-to-eat chicken. Plus, we check out the 4th of July fun in the sun over at the Pittsburgh Aquatic Center. And
4th of July festivities are making a comeback here in the 4 states, and Carthage is no exception. I'm Bronte Sorotsky with what this year's festivities look like and why one family's been coming out here for over 20 years.
Meteorologist Nick Kelly has your weather. Danny Terzer's on sports. I'm Mike Mahoney, and this is your KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, thanks so much for tuning in on this 4th of July. A Frontenac man is dead following a single vehicle crash late last night. According to the KHP, a car driven by 73-year-old Virgil McCullough was southbound on Cayuga when it went off the road and hit a set of mailboxes and then a driveway, and then accelerated rapidly until it hit a concrete storm ditch culvert. McCullough was taken to Via Christi in Pittsburgh, where he later died from his injuries. Tyson Foods is recalling almost 8.5 million pounds of its ready-to-eat chicken. The USDA Food and Safety Inspection Service says the poultry may be contaminated with listeria. The products recalled are frozen, full-cooked chicken products produced between December 26, 2020 and April 13, 2021. Tyson's ready-to-eat chicken was distributed nationwide to retailers, hospitals, nursing facilities, restaurants, and Department of Defense locations. 2 people have been reported ill with listeriosis. Today was an absolutely beautiful Independence Day here in the 4-state area, at least as far as I could see. Let's get some details from meteorologist Nick Kelly.
We did have a pretty good 4th of July this go around, Mike. Usually on days like this, we're dealing with rain or very hot, very humid weather. Not the case for today. We kept things partly to mostly sunny and dry all day long. The temperature's not too terrible. 68 this morning, a high of 88. Not too far, though, from where we should be for normal 4th of July around here. We kept things pretty quiet. No rain underneath our partly cloudy skies this evening and for much of the day. While again, any big storms are staying well out to the west of us. In the meantime, temperatures, they're still kind of warm, but not too terrible. Upper 70s to near 80 with not much in the way of humidity to make it feel any hotter than it actually is. So we're keeping things quiet for the overnight hours. And for those of us considering tomorrow as an extension of the holiday weekend, we're still looking okay. 66 in the morning and kind of a repeat of this afternoon for tomorrow. Highs are 88, partly to mostly sunny skies. We'll see if this trend can hold for the week ahead here in just a bit, Mike.
All right, sounds good, Nick. To help celebrate America's independence, Celebrations Church in Duquesne hosted a special breakfast and outdoor worship service this morning. Red, white, and blueberries was the theme, and it featured some delicious and patriotic pancake options. The church served the pancakes in addition to other breakfast items. From there, they held an outdoor worship service with some live music to get everyone together and ready to celebrate the 4th.
Well, we normally throw an event, and we just got off a church camp, so we said, you know what, how about let's just do something early in the morning and get it over with, and let's bring everybody out in the morning for a good old country breakfast and enjoy under the sun and have service outside.
Organizers say it was a great change of pace from last year when services looked considerably different. The 4th of July fun continued at Pittsburgh's Lincoln Park today, and there was no shortage of 4-staters who were out and about and having a good time before the city's big 10 p.m. fireworks show. Folks were enjoying train rides, games of bocce ball, local food vendors, and a whole lot more. A retired Pittsburgh resident tells KOAM that he loves Lincoln Park on the 4th because it's a chance to let out his inner artist.
It's a wonderful thing. I'm so glad we have it back again, and the arts and crafts is what bring me out here. I really appreciate the arts, and it's bad for my retirement account because I can't stop buying arts and crafts here in Pittsburgh, Kansas.
Later in the day, people at the park got to jam out to some live music at the J.J. Richards Band Dome. But the Pittsburgh 4th of July celebration wasn't limited to Lincoln Park. Plenty of people decided to have some fun in the sun while getting wet and wild over at the Pittsburgh Aquatic Center. The water slides, lazy river, diving boards, and pools were packed with 4-staters who were happy to be spending their Independence Day at one of the coolest places in Pittsburgh, especially since COVID-19 shut down the facility last summer. Austin Moore recently moved to Pittsburgh from California, and he says the Aquatic Center let his family carry on a tradition of a 4th of July family swim day.
This is a family tradition we've done every year. We always try to make it fun for the children, and we just wanted them to have a great time today. Let them go swimming and have a blast.
And the Pittsburgh Aquatic Center staff also got in on the fun, even though they were busy making sure everyone was staying safe. Lifeguards and other staff members got to add some 4th of July flair to their typical work uniforms. Many parts of the 4 states are having a blast for 4th of July, especially after so many celebrations had to be canceled last year due to the coronavirus pandemic. That includes the city of Carthage, and KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky checked out how folks over there are showing their love for their country.
Municipal Park in Carthage was full of people celebrating the nation's independence. After the pandemic halted last year's plans, the city wanted to come back bigger and better.
This is actually the first year that we've done anything this scale. So we at the CVB are really excited to be able to open up all of the amenities to the public and kind of create this community space and enjoy the 4th together, especially after all of the hardship last year. We've really kind of thought that it was important that we've all joined together and show our love and support for each other here.
Not only was this event for the community, it also honored the tradition of the 4th by celebrating veterans as well.
We feel like it's important to show our support for the community, for our veterans, for all of the people coming home, for people who may not have gotten the chance to celebrate last year. And also because this is the first year in a while that people have actually gotten to be able to go out and enjoy the world.
One local family has been coming here for 20 years to celebrate the 4th.
Fireworks we could care less about. We come here to gather as a family, that's the main thing.
They take the holiday very seriously.
We get here at 4 o'clock in the morning to make sure we have our spot.
To them, it's a tradition. And although the day was filled with fun activities, celebrating independence as a family is even more important.
We're celebrating when we became free, and that's what we did. That's what we live for, So, and then it just kind of helps with family.
In Carthage, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
Waking up at 4 a.m., that is a patriot right there. All right, it's now time to honor one of our many 4-state heroes. And tonight, we pay tribute to Sean Lynn of Cherryvale, Kansas. Lynn served as a captain in the U.S. Army, and he fought in Operation Iraqi Freedom. Thank you, sir, for your service and for fighting for freedom. For more information on all our 4-state heroes or to nominate your own, just log on to KOAMnewsnow.com. We'll be right back with meteorologist Nick Kelly and another look at your weather. Plus, we've got an update on Storm Elsa, which was downgraded from a hurricane to a tropical storm, but that did not stop it from causing chaos in the Dominican Republic. We've got details right after weather.
Check out
this fall.
We kept things pretty nice for this 4th of July. Normally on this holiday, we either deal with very hot and humid weather or we get rained out with all this hot and humid weather, but none of the sort for today. We had partly to mostly sunny skies from start to finish from our time-lapse of indigo sky just outside of Seneca, Missouri. That did have to result in temperatures a little bit warmer compared to yesterday, where we topped out in the middle to upper 80s. After we dropped back, though, into the upper 60s this morning, we went back into the upper 80s, and that's where most of us topped out, with the humidity staying fairly in check. So it wasn't too bad for any outdoor plans on this 4th of July, and we're still looking good for this evening. Overall, for the course of the week, I'm expecting temperatures to stay mainly warm to hot. We're going to bounce back and forth between the 80s and the 90s on some days, and that's despite some rain chances trying to sneak in on Wednesday and Thursday before we see a stronger front come in by the weekend, and that could send us back potentially into the lower 80s by the time we hit the end of next weekend. In the meantime, though, can't deny how beautiful the sky looks from 7th and Rangeline at 9/11 on this Sunday night. 79 in Joplin, feels like 81 with the dew point sitting in the mid-60s. Much of the area is faring fairly the same. We are in the upper 70s to near 80 degrees right now. You factor in that humidity, it's just making it feel a degree or two warmer against the skin, but still not bad even if it does feel like the upper 70s to lower 80s. At least we're staying quiet here, while once again any big thunderstorms are staying well out to the west of us. ahead and along of a dying warm front. Then our focus will shift toward this frontal boundary to the north. That's going to try and inch our way over the next few days, but it's going to have to take a lot of persuading to come down this way, especially when we have this upper ridge trying to build back in. This is what's primarily going to keep some of the summer heat in play as we go throughout the course of the week. But in the short term, just like this morning and today, we'll just keep skies partly cloudy and quiet while anything left over from the storms out in western Kansas stay out to the west of us. As far as temperatures go, we'll drop back to 66 first thing in the morning, and then we'll just keep that light south breeze at 5 to 10 going throughout the course of the day. That'll send us to 83 by noon, pushing 88 degrees for an afternoon high in Joplin. Everyone else faring much of the same, mainly upper 80s, but most of us should stay out of the 90s for yet another day if you're still observing the 4th of July on your Monday. In terms of where we go beyond the end of the holiday weekend, we go back into the lower 90s for some on Tuesday. Then this upper level low shunts the upper ridge back, and that tries to send the first front our way with some thunderstorm chances Wednesday and Thursday, and that's going to try and push temperatures back into the mid to upper 80s. But that temporary list to the north, then a stronger wave to the north really works its way in as we go into the coming weekend. And what starts as kind of a warm to hot weekend, behind that on Sunday, this setup could potentially bring temperatures down to maybe near 80 degrees. And you can see how these temperatures play out on the 7-day forecast. Staying warm, not a bit hot for the next few days. 88 tomorrow, 90 on Tuesday. Dry for both days. Then we'll see maybe some scattered storms Wednesday and a random storm Thursday with mid to upper 80s for highs. The weekend may start hot, Mike, but with that second big front on the way, we'll see highs dropping back to 80 on Sunday.
Sounds like a plan to me. Thanks so much, Nick. And Nick, we've got a little international weather news here. Tropical storm Elsa battered several Caribbean islands this weekend as it makes its way towards Florida. The Dominican Republic got hit with strong winds and intense rain as Elsa passed over the island. Elsa was downgraded on Saturday from a Category 1 hurricane to a tropical storm, but that didn't stop the storm from ripping off roofs, destroying crops, and knocking down trees and power lines. Tropical storm Elsa is expected to reach Florida by Tuesday. When we return, we'll update you with what's happening with the rescue operations surrounding the Florida condo complex collapse.
Explosives are being installed in preparation for demolishing all that's left of the Surfside condo tower that partially collapsed. I'm Phil Keating in Florida with the story coming up.
The confirmed death toll at the condo tower's collapse in South Florida has remained the same for the past day and a half. 24 people have been confirmed dead, with more than 120 others unaccounted for. Fox News' Phil Keating has more from Surfside, Florida.
This is not an Independence Day like any we have ever experienced before.
A planned demolition is in the works for what remains of the 12-story condominium building that crumbled to the ground in Surfside, Florida. No survivors have been found since the first few hours after the tower partially caved in on itself. Officials suspended rescue operations on Saturday to allow demo crews to prepare for the job.
Our top priority is that the building come down as soon as possible, no matter what time that occurs, and as safely as possible.
This as first responders brace for a possible storm. There's concern strong winds and heavy rainfall from the tropical storm Elsa could knock the remaining structure down by itself uncontrollably as search and rescue teams sift through the rubble looking for the missing. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis says the state will be prepared to deal with the impact of this tropical storm.
We're going to be continuing to monitor the storm. I think in terms of the impacts for Surfside, which we're obviously very concerned about, could see some gusts, but it has tracked west over the last day and a half.
The state of Florida will pay for all demolition costs and likely be reimbursed by the feds. Officials say search and rescue operations will resume immediately after the demolition, just as soon as the site is determined to be safe. In Surfside, Florida, Phil Keating, Fox News.
A 3-story apartment building in South Florida has been evacuated after a building inspector found structural damage in a vacant unit. Fire officials in Miami Beach were called to the residential building this weekend. The inspector found what authorities are calling a flooring system failure and excessive deflection on an exterior wall. Authorities say the building was evacuated out of an abundance of caution. They say it contains 24 units and 13 of them were occupied. The evacuation comes as several residential buildings in South Florida have undergone inspection following the recent Surfside condo collapse. When we return, we've got a visual reminder of why fireworks safety is so important. This is what happened to the pros who were setting up fireworks in Maryland today for an evening show. That story and more are next.
We're here to help. We are.
Welcome back. The White House is doing a victory lap over the latest jobs report, which shows employers added hundreds of thousands of jobs last month. But Republicans say not so fast. They are pointing to inflation as an indication that the economy is not doing as well as the Democrats say it is. Fox News' Mark Meredith has more from the White House.
President Biden says the latest jobs report shows the U.S. economy is on the rebound, but critics say those extended unemployment benefits as well as fears of inflation may be hurting long-term economic recovery. We got the jobs report on Friday. It showed that the unemployment rate ticked up ever so slightly to 5.9%. Some 850,000 jobs were added last month, most of those in leisure and hospitality. No surprise there. Some new jobs in education, a few job losses in construction, and things stayed relatively calm in the IT, healthcare, and financial services sector. The president insists, though, the jobs report and the country's vaccine rollout is something to celebrate. He spent Saturday in Michigan showcasing how the country's reopening. But on Friday, he also championed the latest jobs report, claiming that workers have it better now than they ever did just a few months ago.
Our economy is continuing to grow our economy. And the strength of our recovery is helping us flip the script. Instead of workers competing with each other for jobs that are scarce, employers are competing with each other to attract workers.
But critics say this latest jobs report is nothing to be proud of. Republicans warning that inflation is out of control and that more government spending will only hurt, not help, any chance of future economic growth. As for President Biden, he is spending his Saturday night in Wilmington, but back at the White House on Sunday for the 4th of July, where he'll be hosting thousands of military service members and their families. At the White House, Mark Meredith, Fox News.
Pandemic-weary Americans are celebrating the nation's 245th birthday in a big way. Our nation's capital is crackling with excitement as revelers enjoy the holiday and look forward to a big fireworks display this evening. Fox News' David Spunt takes a look.
A lot of excitement here in our nation's capital on the 4th of July. I'm standing on the National Mall right now in between the Capitol and the Lincoln Memorial. Of course, the Washington Monument is behind me, that iconic scene. Officials with the National Park Service here in Washington, D.C. are expecting large crowds. Now, there are multiple roads closed in the nation's capital, so if you plan to come see the fireworks tonight, pay attention to those road closures. Some statistics from the National Park Service. They have already put up 18,000 linear feet of chain link fencing and 14,000 feet of bike racks. We stopped by the reflecting pool in front of the Lincoln Memorial for a taste of what things look like when crews set up fireworks. 65,000 fireworks shells will be used, and to set them up it takes hours and hours. It's not easy work. Things have to be precise, but in the end it's worth it for those who put on the show and, of course, those who will be watching the show.
A year ago, we were out here. We did a fireworks show last year, but we were actively encouraging people to stay home, enjoy it virtually, not come out because of the pandemic. So to be here a year later, no masks on, big crowd expected, it's really a good sign that the nation's capital is open for business again.
Fingers crossed the weather cooperates over the next few hours. The fireworks are supposed to kick off precisely at 9:09 Eastern Time tonight. In Washington, David Spunt, Fox News.
A fireworks display went horribly wrong in Maryland. Fireworks for a 4th of July show accidentally detonated while being set up at Ocean City Beach today. While no beachgoers or boardwalk patrons were injured from the unplanned fireworks, employees who were setting them up suffered minor injuries. Hours after the blast, city officials announced that fireworks shows, which were expected to take place in multiple locations for the holiday, would be canceled out of an abundance of caution. So it can happen to anyone. Be careful. When we return, if you decided to stay right here in the four-state area for the 4th of July weekend, you may have saved yourself a lot of travel-related headache.
Americans are more eager than ever to travel for this 4th of July weekend. I'm Christina Coleman with a look at the holiday travel surge coming up.
Welcome back. Americans are more eager than ever to get out of the house and celebrate Independence Day this year. Millions of people are expected to endure long lines at airports, bumper-to-bumper traffic, and record-high gas prices as they travel this holiday weekend. Fox News' Christina Coleman checks it out.
4th of July weekend is officially the busiest travel weekend of the pandemic. The TSA screened nearly 2.2 million people at airports nationwide on Friday, even more than in 2019 before the pandemic. The surge in domestic travel is largely due to the vaccination rate, tourist attractions reopening, and the fact that international travel remains mostly restricted.
Everybody wants to get out. Everybody's been locked up in the house, so everybody just want to spread their wings and have some fun. That's it.
And it's not just airports that are busy. AAA expects nearly 44 million Americans to take to the roads this weekend, even as gas prices are the highest they've been in nearly 7 years. Experts say Americans are so eager to get out that traffic, steep gas prices, and bad weather aren't enough to change their plans.
High gas prices don't typically deter someone from taking their trip, but they'll cut corners during their trip. Maybe they'll stay at a more budget-friendly hotel, eat out less.
But health officials warn COVID-19 is still spreading. With the rise of the highly contagious Delta variant, the Biden administration is encouraging those who haven't yet been vaccinated to do so as soon as possible.
If you are not vaccinated, you are at risk of getting the virus. And the Delta variant, the transmissibility of it, which we've seen from medical experts who have made clear that it is far more transmissible, it can be deadly, it can make people incredibly sick, is just a reminder of what risk people are putting on themselves if they don't get vaccinated.
Preliminary data show the Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson vaccines offer protection against the Delta variant. Christina Coleman, Fox News.
Don't go anywhere. We have got a lot more news headed your way, as well as another look at your weather with meteorologist Nick Kelly and your KOAM Sports Report with Danny Terzer. It's all coming up right here on your KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14.
Albers Marine, your authorized tracker boat.
Many Americans are thrilled to be out of the house for 4th of July after a year of coronavirus lockdowns. But even as people try to get back to normal, there is concern that the virus and its variants still pose some very serious risks. Fox News' Mark Meredith is back with that story.
President Biden says this truly is a special 4th of July and that the country has made great progress in fighting coronavirus. But health officials say they are still concerned about variants of the virus spreading throughout the U.S. Earlier this year, President Biden set a goal to get 70% of adults at least one COVID vaccine shot by the 4th of July. He admits he's missing that goal by a few percentage points, despite what many believe was a strong rollout of the vaccine early on. The latest data from the CDC shows 157 million people have been fully vaccinated, and that's 47% of the total population. 58% of adults 18 and older have also been fully vaccinated. But health officials say too many Americans remain at risk because millions are not choosing to get the vaccine. Dr. Anthony Fauci is also raising eyebrows by suggesting today that some vaccinated Americans may still need to wear masks in some places.
You might want to go the extra step and say, when I'm in that area where there's a considerable degree of viral circulation, I might want to go the extra mile to be cautious enough to make sure that I get the extra added level of protection, even though the vaccines themselves are highly effective.
But some lawmakers want to see the federal mask mandate re-examined. Vaccinated travelers are still required to wear masks on planes, trains, and buses. Those rules don't expire until mid-September, but a bipartisan group of lawmakers are asking the CDC to update its guidance if it finds that the risk for travelers remains low. But federal health officials say they're not letting their guard down anytime soon. They even have teams on standby ready to deploy throughout the country if new hotspots pop up. At the White House, Mark Meredith, Fox News.
Pope Francis has arrived at a hospital in Rome today, ready to undergo surgery to fix a partial obstruction in his large intestine. The Office of the Vatican released a statement announcing the news, saying that the Pope is suffering from, quote, symptomatic diverticular stenosis of the colon. They did not say when exactly the surgery will take place, but Vatican officials did say they would make another announcement when the operation is complete. We'll be right back with meteorologist Nick Kelly and another look at your weather. Don't go anywhere.
Take to the trails in Allen.
6, right here on Fox 14.
Thankfully, we were just warm and a little bit humid for our 4th of July this go around. On a day like this, normally we're either too hot and too humid, or we're dealing with thunderstorms that would put a damper on any outdoor plans for the day. But from start to finish, can't deny that nice looking time lapse showing partly to mostly sunny skies from Indigo Sky Casino and Resort outside of Seneca, Missouri. That has meant temperatures warming up once again after a mild start this morning. Very similar to yesterday, where we had highs topping out around 87 degrees. After starting in the upper 60s this morning, we went back into the upper 80s. Last check, Joplin Regional got as warm as 88 degrees this afternoon. We're still a bit warm outside, but still looking at quiet skies from 7th and Range Line, and of course some fireworks going off in the foreground there. But it's not a bad night to be out and about, though. 79 in Joplin, feels like 81 with just a slight bump in the humidity, especially the dew point, sitting in the mid-60s. Much of the area is the same, mid to upper 70s all across the board, no matter where you are across the area. And again, the slight humidity out there means it only feels just a degree or two warmer for the effect against your skin. So not that humid of a night, and we'll certainly take it considering what's going on out west as we expand the view out. Well, we stay quiet here all day long. We had another day where thunderstorms, where they fired up, certainly impressive in terms of severity and strength, but they are staying out to the west, along and ahead of this warm front that's eventually going to fizzle apart as we go through the next few days. So while we stay quiet once again with high pressure as it starts to slide over the Ohio River Valley, we'll focus, start to at least, on this cold front to the north and west. It might want to try to bring some rain chances by the middle of the week, but it's still going to be a very warm, if not hot week with this upper ridge in place, certainly as we go through tonight and tomorrow if you're still observing the holiday weekend on your Monday. Let's break down your Monday with your future track forecast. Again, not looking bad overall, maybe some passing cloud cover at times throughout the night, but the forecast is all the same otherwise. A mild start once again for your Monday morning and a dry start for your Monday morning. Overnight lows will drop back to 66. A light south breeze in the morning at 5 to 10 will stay light out of the south throughout the course of the afternoon. And with skies eventually turning mostly sunny by the afternoon, that means we'll go to 83 by noon, push 88 for downtown Joplin, and much of the area will be back into the upper 80s. I think most of us will avoid temperatures officially hitting 90 degrees, but as I take you through the rest of the future track forecast from the jet stream setup, this upper ridge wants to stay in place for Tuesday. That could be a day where we'll have highs topping out around 90. Still, I don't think quite as hot and not quite as humid as it could be around here. Once we get into Wednesday, though, one upper wave wants to start pushing that cold front our way, so we'll keep an eye on a few scattered storms for Wednesday and Thursday. Brief break on Friday with highs back near 90. Then a stronger wave wants to bring the backside of this next storm system our way with good chances for thunderstorms on Saturday and cooler temperatures once we hit the end of the coming weekend. You can see how we look on the 7-day forecast. 88 for your Monday, 90 on Tuesday, middle to upper 80s for Wednesday and Thursday with that uptick in our thunderstorm chances. We'll start hot on Friday, the weekend that is, with highs around 90. Then with the rain chances ramp up, we'll see highs back in the 80s by then. The Andy Tercer's on deck. She'll have our full sports fix for us on the other side.
Today.
This is the Toyota Sunday Night Sports Feed. The Outlaws are down at Arvest Park tonight to play an exhibition game against the Nevada Griffins. Errors plagued the Griffins tonight, allowing the Outlaws to come from behind to win this one 6-5. Joplin returns to their regular Mink League schedule tomorrow, facing Nevada again, with some momentum now, at home at Joe Becker. Things have been looking up for the St. Louis Cardinals. They've won their last 5 of 8. They need a win tonight in Colorado to split the series. In the finale, Carlos Martinez starting on the mound. He leaves the game in the 4th with a bruised thumb and is day-to-day. Down 1-0 here. Cards answer back Harrison Bader. A 2-run jack, and St. Louis takes the lead. Bader 2 for 4 today. Tied in the 9th, Yadier Molina hits a grounder to second, and the Rockies turn the double play. Bottom of the inning, Elias Diaz gets the walk-off, a single to left. The Cards go down 3-2, picking up just 1 win in the series. Andrew Benintendi returns to the Royals lineup after missing 16 games with a rib fracture. Kansas City hosting the Twins today. The Royals lead the regular season series 7-5. Royals going for the series sweep. Kansas City can't get anything off of Kenta Maeda. He pitches 6 shutout innings with 10 Ks. The long ball was in play today for the Twins as well. Max Kepler into the Royals' pen for a home run. And in the 7th, Jorge Polanco goes deep for his 10th homer of the year. Minnesota up 4-0. And then Alex Kirilloff gets a solo shot. The Royals avoid the shutout but fall 6-2. Switching gears now to hot dogs. Joey Chestnut breaks his own world record today, eating 76 hot dogs in a mere 10 minutes. The runner-up was 26 hot dogs behind, so not even close. We're a minute and a half in here, and Chestnut's already finished 16. It's his 14th victory in 15 years at the Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest. We'll be right back with more news.
Monday morning, we find out.
Welcome back to your news at 9. Chinese astronauts completed their first spacewalk outside the country's new orbital space station today. 2 men worked outside the station to set up cameras and other equipment using a 50-foot-long robotic arm. A third member of the crew remained inside the station to monitor their activity. The robotic arm will be used to help assemble 2 more module attachments, which are set to arrive within the next year. The 3 astronauts arrived at the station last month for a 3-month mission. A Michigan woman says she lost thousands of dollars in a credit union scam using the online payment app Zelle. Fox News' Randy Wimbley has her story.
It came up on my phone as Michigan First Credit Union.
81-year-old Constance Jackson says it all started with an unsolicited phone call. A man claiming to be from her bank, Michigan First Credit Union, said someone tried unsuccessfully to use her account in Texas and that they would lock the account for 24 hours. The next day,
I called the credit union to see how to get my account unlocked. They told me that they had never called me, and they said that the money was gone. They told me that I had been scammed.
the con hit the 81-year-old grandmother, widow, and retired school administrator hard, withdrawing $4,000 from her account via Zelle in one day. Jackson thought the credit union would make her whole. She waited a few weeks and then called the bank again.
They told me that I had to recoup my money through Zelle. And they had tried to get the money from Zelle. They could only recoup $35 of the $4,000 that was taken.
Michigan First Credit Union is investigating what happened. Zelle is a digital payment service often used by banks to transfer money from one account to another. A Zelle spokesperson says they're not on the hook for the money lost. The bank is. Complaints against mobile payment apps, including Zelle, have skyrocketed this year as more consumers fall prey to scams.
We've all been involved in countless data breaches. You hear about them on the news all of the time.
And cybersecurity expert David Deragiotis says some of our personal information ends up on the dark web. Scammers sometimes use it to contact us and try to convince us to give up more sensitive information like login IDs, passwords, or security codes.
Don't ever give out information if you are contacted directly. I don't care if they're telling you they're from the bank, if they're from the FBI, whatever it may be. Always hang up and contact them directly.
And that's not all.
Set up two-factor authentication with any of your online accounts, especially your banking. It's going to create that additional barrier and level of security for somebody to be able to get in. And finally, I think some of the things with regards to the financial institutions, set up a notice and alert. Go online, have them flag you, send you a text, send you an email anytime there's a certain amount of money being transferred or accessed over any dollar amount.
We'll be right back with more news. It was an emotional experience for two families in Oregon after a heart transplant recipient met with the family of the organ donor. Fox News' Audrey Weil tells us about the precious friendship both families have now formed.
We're told these two have a lot in common: a love of nature and adventures, hiking, biking, and snowboarding. Similarities discovered in recent months of correspondence. But it wasn't until this past weekend that Dwayne Richards met Jacob Ash's family because of their biggest commonality, the same heart.
I just feel like it's such a good fit. Like there couldn't be a better person than Dwayne for this, because he's just so kind, and he's just really a lot like Jake.
Last fall, Jake died unexpectedly at home alone in Spokane after choking on a piece of hard candy. Doctors did what they could, but he didn't have any brain activity. His organs still strong enough, though, to fulfill his wish to be a donor. At the same time, Dwayne from Corbett was at OHSU, and after years of heart issues, doctors told him the only option left was a transplant.
Because of Jacob, he'll be able to walk his daughter down the aisle when she gets married. He'll be able to be around for his son and, all the milestones that we would have missed if he hadn't been here.
It's somewhat rare that organ recipients and donors' families would meet, but shortly after the transplant, Jake's parents reached out to Dwayne and his wife, Michelle.
Because I feel like, that Jake's a part of Dwayne.
In getting to know them, we also kind of are part of their tragedy. I mean, they lost their son. It's our blessing, but it's their tragedy that made this all happen.
When they were finally able to meet in person, they did it at Jake's old house during what would have been his 32nd birthday. His family took turns listening to his heartbeat.
Because I'm not keeping this heart alive just for me. I'm keeping it alive for them also.
Honoring one life lost and one life saved in what will forever tie both families together.
I'm really glad that we can be friends, and I feel like it's going to be like a lifelong friendship.
And we see it as a responsibility to go on and live a really good life for Jacob and for his parents.
Two friends in Florida are making a difference in their community by working together, and they've been doing it for almost 4 decades now. Fox News' Kelly Ring has that story.
Doors are opening for 78-year-old Celia Furman and 87-year-old Ellen Stichter. The duo is part of Meals on Wheels.
And we have 8.
Their program provides free meals for people who are homebound.
It's fun. We enjoy doing it. We love the company with each other.
Every Wednesday for the past 38 years, the twosome have delivered meals to homebound seniors.
You get excited about knowing you're going to be delivering the meals. Yeah.
The pair says it's a fun way to spend your day.
Thank you. We've got some friends in some interesting places, and we love to find out what's happening in their lives every week.
I won't be here next week.
Oh, you will?
I'm going home to visit my parents.
Where?
In North Carolina.
Oh, good. But you will be back.
I will be back. I think they are awesome. I just love them to pieces. They deliver, and they're just so sweet when they come.
They also love the time they spend together.
We've been scout leaders together. We've got children that are the same age. Yes, we've traveled together. Good morning.
Celia and Ellen are glad to be doing something of value and importance.
We know that somebody has lunch and has a meal, and we may be the only contact they have all day, and you feel like what you're doing has value and is important.
She's doing fine.
Two friends teaming up to deliver a difference in the lives of others.
Well, thanks so much for taking some time out of your 4th of July to tune in. Enjoy the holiday weekend, stay safe out there, and be sure to come back for more KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. Happy Independence Day, and have a good night.